Self-explanatory right here. This is the result, Maryland, of not taking care of your waterways. My Lord, dude. I didn't even see that. Up here at a popular beach right off of Eastern Boulevard. Literally here like 2 weeks ago. Cleaned this entire beach. And over the weekend was trashed again. This is the second dead rockfish we've had wash up since we've been down here. No hook holes or lures in its mouth. Means it likely died of hypoxia or because of sewage in the waterways. Wondering why we have rockfish moratoriums and strict catch limits? You can see why. Real shame. Eight bags of trash from that one fishing spot.
Yeah. What's up? So I am here on my hometown river where I grew up, about a mile and a half up the road. I am here in Back River and I am cleaning up trash. I'm here with Austin, Grayson, right?
Yes.
I think I got it right this time. Grayson. So you don't see too much now, but we've just put about we're on our third or fourth load going up to the trash, but we're picking up bottles and all kind of stuff. Dude right here, these two dudes do a lot of awesome work cleaning up this Back River. They got the boom system right here that actually helps collect it, brings it all the way down so we can sweep it up and put it into the trash bin where it belongs. And if you're fishing, it goes to a lot of places. Cox's Point's one.
Yep.
A lot of fishing places down here.
Rocky Point every now and then.
Man, I'm a fisherman. Just try to leave it better than you found it. Ain't that what they always say?
Absolutely.
Pick up 1 or 2 pieces of trash and it'll help his job a lot easier.
Yeah. Or don't throw it out of your car window in the first place. We'll
yeah, because right there, 695 going over Back River. And we're here cleaning up.
One thing I've noticed picking as much trash as we do up in these swamps and marshes of the Chesapeake Bay. The ever-abundant population of crawfish. And not just any crawfish, this is the Louisiana crawfish, also known as the mudbug. This is an invasive species out here in the Chesapeake, and it's one of the most abundant species I see out here, because it's one of the biggest and most aggressive crawfish. This thing voraciously eats snails, slugs, and more importantly, a lot of the bay grasses. And it does so at a much faster rate than the native crawfish that we have out here. It's pretty much out-eating all the native crawfish. These guys aren't just bigger and stronger, they're actually built for combat. They're one of the few crawdads that have hooks on the end of their pinchers, making their pinch extra painful and that much more difficult to get them to unlatch. I can confirm as much. These guys will also build burrows into the banks of the river and the bay. Not only disrupts vegetation from growing, but more importantly, it greatly loosens the sediment that encourages erosion. Starting to get introduced into Maryland tidal waters in the early 80s, mainly due to fishermen using them as bait and then releasing the ones they didn't use into the waterways they were fishing. Now, as many problems as these guys cause, just to put it in perspective, the southeastern United States has over 350 species of crawfish alone. So I do imagine it's going to be hard to keep these guys from spreading around. Now, as big as these guys can get and as much as Maryland loves their crustaceans, I figure we can find a good way to solve this. Now, unfortunately, sometimes we have to also remove plants from the water, not just trash. This Phragmite forest is hiding some serious trash. Jackpot! These floating heads of what appears to be lettuce is actually named just that. This is water lettuce. A water lettuce is an invasive plant here in Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay. It's a plant actively trying to gain a foothold here in the Chesapeake region. Now, although this plant is often planted and used in man-made ponds and lakes to filter out the water and keep it clean, out here on the Chesapeake it could bind together and start to take over. Much like these impenetrable thickets of Phragmite you see behind me have. Super fun sight, but you can see here why this thing is so good at filtering. It just kind of floats along the surface of the water, absorbing all kinds of nutrients and alkaloid toxic metals. But when allowed to persist, it'll form these thick mats, which blocks out the sunlight from the sea floor, keeping native bay grasses from being able to grow. And that in turn destroys the habitat for things like juvenile fish and crabs. So although I appreciate its ability to filter out the water, we definitely don't need any additional invasive species out here that can take over and form another monoculture. Now, unfortunately, you can see this fungus is bigger than my head, which ain't saying a whole lot. I got a small head. This is one of the largest fruiting edible mushrooms found around the Chesapeake. Because we work so closely around fallen timber that lines the banks of the bay, we we get to come into contact with a lot of the unique organisms that inhabit it. This mushroom is known as dryad saddle. It's a type of white rot fungus that grows out of decomposing wood. Its younger stages, when it's much smaller than this, it's known to be a tasty mushroom, packed with vitamins A, B, C, antioxidants, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory properties, which seems to be the case with most mushrooms that aren't directly poisonous. This guy's characterized by the black scaly flakes that appear on the top of the fruit body, and its white underbelly here, patches of the tree here on the base with this stem. This is one of the largest ones I've seen, but apparently they grow up to 2 feet wide. Very cool specimen out here in the Chesapeake.
So one of the questions I want to ask him is he surprised he's here every day? And he's not surprised. I think you spend a lot of time actually collecting it and then bringing it over.
Yeah.
And then they saved this just for me. They gave me an easy day. I definitely expected a little bit more of a harder day. But they do have a boat right there that they can go around. But you can see this is all low tide. That's 695 right there. And this boom system helps. It's all down there, all around there. It helps trap it to where they can bring it in and take it out. I think they are very important to the Chesapeake Bay.
These guys can filter up to 10 gallons of water a day, especially one this size. And no, this ain't a clam. One of the benefits of scooping up trash out of the Chesapeake is sometimes you get to scoop up a little more than trash. This is an eastern floater mussel, one of 25 species of mussels that live in the Chesapeake Bay. These guys are characterized by that beautiful pearly white inside of their shell, the large elliptical shaped brownish outer shell, which often is tinted with a bit of green due to the fact that these guys mostly eat phytoplankton and bacteria from algae. They make their shells out of calcium carbonate, which is great because in order for them to do that, they have to sequester carbon then from the atmosphere. Eastern floater is also one of the most stable mussels in the Chesapeake. See, freshwater mussels reproduce in a very unique way. They'll essentially shoot out their babies in a cloud of larvae, hoping to get that larva attached to the gills of a local fish. Those babies will effectively incubate, and once they've grown and gained enough weight, then fall off into the sea floor. Some species of mussels are even known to wave around their siphon like a worm or bait, hoping to attract the type of fish they want their larvae to attach to. Species of mussels are very particular of what type of fish they do this to, and the eastern floater is the most non-picky, so they have the best chance at having successful reproduction. These guys are also extremely stable in low oxygenated waters. We can find them in the presence of some of the most polluted bodies of water stemming off the Chesapeake. These seeds are actually edible for humans as well. They're packed with fiber and protein. These dying bay plants actually offer a lot more than just an opportunity to pick up more trash. This is a solitary swamp rose mallow in a sea of cattails, also known by its more common name, hibiscus. The seeds from hibiscus plant are a lifeline to many of the birds that inhabit the Chesapeake Bay during winter, like wood ducks and red-tailed blackbirds. Red-tailed blackbirds also known to use this plant as a place to nest. As the stems of the hibiscus plant hollow out, insects will actually make homes out of these over the winter, many of which are pollinators for this and other plants like it. Dried flowers of hibiscus are famous for their nutritious tea, high in antiviral, antibacterial, blood pressure, and cholesterol lowering properties, and also act as a mild anti-inflammatory. This upcoming winter and spring, you should think twice before you prune that plant's dead foliage.
Say it again.
Like in every single sample of water they took, there was microplastic particles in there.
Yeah, because that's all we're finding. Plastic bottles everywhere.
What would a Thanksgiving feast around the Chesapeake Bay have looked like in settler times? Not that. So in the early 1600s, John Smith was actually the first English settler to map out the Chesapeake Bay. That's that John Smith. In fact, the Chesapeake most likely got its name from a native tribe in the Jamestown, Virginia area called the Chesapeake, which loosely translated means Great Big River. It gave us insight into the predominant tribes of the region at the time. To the south and the southern Chesapeake were the Powhatan, led by Great Chief Powhatan. And in the north of the Chesapeake Bay, their rivals the Susquehannock. Of course, the Susquehanna River was named after that tribe. In between them was the Piscataway. They dominated right in this region of Baltimore City. Piscataway and Powhatans were Algonquin-speaking. The Susquehannock were Iroquois-speaking tribes. So naturally, the Piscataways were kind of loosely folded and organized under the Powhatan Confederacy. The Powhatans were originally friendly with the English settlers. A part of John Smith's exploratory adventures up the Chesapeake Bay, he took note in the way the natives of the region used this great body of water for food. A diet rich in crustaceans, an assortment of fish, of course, including striped bass, collecting the pollen from cattails to be used as flour for breads, having devised ways to boil the poison out of arrow arum to be able to eat its tubular starchy roots like potatoes. A diet rich in shellfish and mollusks, likely eating off pottery made from this rich Chesapeake Bay clay. There was this journey to map and explore the Chesapeake Bay by John Smith and the settlers that many believe led to a troubled relationship beginning with the Powhatan Confederacy, because Chief Powhatan saw the English settlers as his subordinates, people who he allowed to exist in his great nation. And when John Smith set on that voyage, he didn't ask for permission. This, in combination with tightening resources and land, led to 3 serious wars between the settlers and the Powhatan Confederacy, and we all know how that ended. Now we're out here fighting a battle of a very different nature. Jesus. Here's today's challenge. I gotta get this boat through this pile of trash, through that pile of trash, so I can then post up on one of the pylons, wedge the boat, and then use this 90 horsepower Merc, blow it all back down so we can finally pick it up. Otherwise, this stuff is just going to sit in the middle here where it's too deep for us to walk out and get it. And the trash is so thick that it's too shallow. It's building up on the bottom and it's stuck. Cleared the first pile. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we're looking to get rid of. And let's see what we were able to do here. What you didn't see was the boat get stuck, me bending over to try and free it, and my phone dropping in the water, about chest neck high water, so I had to go for a little polar bear plunge to get it back. These guys' favorite hosts are normally red crawfish. So you've seen me pick a lot of red swamp crawfish before. And most scientists believe that these leeches came from the southeast along with the red crawfish. Apparently they took a liking to that giant water bug. This is a giant water bug, a slightly venomous and predatory bug out here in the Chesapeake Bay. Now they appear to be somewhat prevalent out here in the Chesapeake. That's right, the Chesapeake Bay has leeches.
All right, so I'm getting ready to rock and roll out of here. I'm with
Grayson.
I'm gonna call him Austin. All right, I'm with Austin and Grayson, and we had a pretty good day. Went up the river, walked up, picked up some trash, and he says, all right, we're done for today. Yeah. He said, we're done for the day. So he made it they made it easy on me today, but we picked up a lot of trash. And if you really want to go in more detail of everything that the Back River Restoration does, and how about you talk about real quick about your brokerage, because you're a broker too.
Yeah, I'm life insurance broker, financial advisor in general, but we focus on life insurance and some annuity and long-term care products. But yeah, I mean, the business is kind of what allows me to do this. And so anybody who appreciates that we do this and they need the products that we provide, the financial services, we'd love to have you, and it allows me to keep on picking up trash. It allows me to keep on trying to clean and restore.
Yeah, so and if you want to do what I did and volunteer, just go to his page. You can just get you on Instagram or anywhere, just contact you, and then you'll get in contact with Desiree.
My website's on, my website and all my contact information is on every social media page I have, and so you can reach out to me through either of those channels, and I can get you in touch with the charity project manager, and she can hook you up with the day to come by and all the gear, and
that'd be awesome. Got to sign your life away, but that's good. Hey, if you go to this video right here, me and the wife were crabbing, caught a bushel of crabs in 4 runs. 4 runs, we kicked their ass. And if you go right here, you can subscribe. It's free, don't cost you anything, and you help the channel out. All right, I'll check you later.